There are whole stories. Hello, sir. Go ahead. It's your experience of creating are you reading? It's just in Dropbox. Oh,
I know, I'm never just made up with you, but I'm not sure, so.
We have signs.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to LitLive. We will get started in just a few minutes, just to give everybody a sense that things are happening. In the meantime, though, please grab the menu on the table, head to the cafe bar over there, grab something to eat, drink, enjoy, and we will have this underway very shortly. Welcome. Hello again. I'm so excited to introduce what's happening at LitLive this month. We have partnered with I'm going to read this. I want to get this right. With DisAbilities, and it's as part of the Ontario D/Deaf/HOH, that's hard of hearing, Disabled, Mad, and Neuroatypical Poetics Festival, which is really neat. And Shane Nielsen is going to run the show here, and we're really excited that everyone is here. So let's give Shane a warm round of applause, as well as all of the writers who are already here and waiting to show us their stuff. So let's give them a hand.
Hey, everybody. It's good to be back at the staircase again. I'm really grateful to LitLive, as I think this is the third year, maybe even the fourth year in a row. Thanks. Fourth year in a row that we've done an event here with you all, whether it was, in deepest, darkest COVID, virtually, or in person. We actually kicked off, I think, our first event, here at the staircase, and had all sorts of people come from quite far away in order to be here. So LitLive has really supported us, and we're grateful for that. And we like that, at least I consider the spiritual home of this festival here at Staircase. So what are we? We're a very loose collective. Some of our members are here tonight. Well, me and Paul Lisson is also a member of the collective. There's all sorts of us. And one of us, Mugabi Byenkya, is going to read for you tonight. So you'll see him. Some years we have an extravaganza of events in Toronto and Hamilton and Guelph. This year, though, it's consolidated. Our spoons amongst the collective were low, starting with myself. So it's the flagship event here tonight. And one of the things I wanted to do is I really wanted to take advantage of LitLive's unique, I think, amongst reading series capabilities. It's a distinctive feature for me is how accessible it is in terms of its digital capability that runs live. So being a disability-focused festival, it appeals to us that we would be able to offer an event live to people who can't be here in person. So in light of that, I invited a bunch of disabled kin in America to participate. So we have some of those reading for you tonight. Okay, so 5 readers. The first is a collective as well. It's called VOKS, and they'll explain their particular ethos to us in a second, but they're going to kick things off. We have Violet Arenburg here, and I'll introduce everybody in sequence, but I'm just giving you the kind of structure for the evening. Violet's going to read third, and the remainder of our readers, 3, will be virtually delivered to you. They've recorded in advance. Everything's set to go. Gary worked extremely hard. Gary Barwin worked extremely hard in order to get the videos accessible in terms of their captioning. So I'm very grateful for Gary investing that effort. I hope you like it. And what the festival started 4 years ago. It was an idea born right here in Hamilton. Paul and I cooked it up, and then we extended our tentacles and started to invite other people, and ended up inviting all sorts of people from across Ontario to participate. We've tried to be as inclusive as possible with the different domains of disability. I myself am on the spectrum and am mad. So, you know, that's the reason why I seem so strange up here. If anybody out there, I always say, if anybody out there has to get up, has to move around, has to shift, that's absolutely no distraction to me, or I do not object. So please be as comfortable as you can. Okay. So basically, thank you to everybody, and thank you for being here. And you know, I'm really glad that we're doing this here at LitLive. If I didn't get encouraged by the people who actually are on the committee, then it might not even happen. So they're even assisting this festival in that way. Okay, so now VOKS. I'm going to invite the VOKS Collective up to the stage in a second to self-describe, if they wish. But here are the members that are present today. There are other members, and you know what? If members arrive late, or if I haven't included everybody because there's been some sort of switch in the lineup, please just introduce yourself if you care to. But I'll start with Paul. Paul Lussan's a disabled artist. He has many distinctions. He received the Hamilton Arts Award for Arts Management in 2017, for visual art and writing in 1997. He's a founding member of this Poetics Collective. He's a member of the League of Canadian Poets, and he wants to acknowledge that the OAC has supported him in both his writing and his art. We have the legendary Simon Richards here. He has over 25 commercial film credits, the most unexceptional of which is playing Mickey Rooney's son in Home for Christmas in 1990. The most notable might be the Genie-nominated House, excuse me, Daniel McIver's one-man play, which is adapted by Laurie Lind. A personal favorite of his is Leather Wings from 1996. He's also acted in and co-directed numerous independent films, the most notorious being Death and the Hammer with Denise Lassalle. I'll curtail it there. I don't think Sedona is here. Yep. Okay, but if Sedona does come, then Sedona will be introduced by the collective. Jeff Mahoney is here. Jeff's a poet and a columnist for the mighty Hamilton Spectator. And we have Lisa Borkovich here. And Lisa was born and raised in the Hammer, where she happily resides with her family. She writes poetry and short stories and has numerous writing credits, including with the Venerable Short Works Prize for Writing, which is sponsored by Hamilton Arts and Letters, that wonderful magazine, spiritually and physically residing right here in the city. Okay, I think I got everybody. Starting off with a bang. So VOKS, come on up.
Thank you for being here. Thank you for inviting us. We dedicate this performance of Frail Deities to Violet Arenburg with respect and affection.
Life and death, space and time, fate and chance. These are the forces of the universe. Tonight, ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the entity that has unlocked these mysteries from the furthest corners of the world, where the rainbow arts still hold sway. It returns to us to demonstrate how nature's laws may be bent I give you the VOKS Collective. I give you necromantic.
My bones, one by one, I replace with others long buried in secret places, crypts, tombs, so that one by one, I reconstruct my bones with others of dead people more interesting than me.
Simultaneous contrast creates the illusion of shadows. Slate blue and winter white, what shape is color? Dark scenes are not perceived by everybody. The night itself is a presence. The night is for you to know. Every shadow is cast by a light. In darkness, we break free the brittle new chromatics. What we do in the dark, in the presence of your clairvoyant touch. In the dark, my derelict body doesn't offend.
I am the whirling atom. I am the splendor of the discus. I am the light of the morning. I am the final evening. I am within that which is within. I am the desire for desire. I am the plant that regenerates a soul. I am the soul that regenerates a man. I am the man who regenerates an angel. I am the angel that regenerates the unheard of. I am the unheard of that regenerates the never seen. I am the never seen that regenerates the non-existent. I am the non-existent. I am the flaw in the ornament. I am the non-existent.
Life and death, space space and time, fate and chance, frail deities, slight return, honors Hamilton's frail deities, Cheryl Smith's partner Frank, Gord White, Gord Lewis, Peter Stevens, Jim Mullen, and anyone you wish to remember and celebrate. The performance was written by Paul Lisson and was performed by Lisa Borkovich and Simon Richards. We send good wishes to Cheryl Smith and Leo Dragtoe. My name is Jeff Mahoney. Thank you again for being here.
I'm that guy, Paul Lisson, they were talking about. Thank you for being here. The VOKS Collective started in 1993. That was Simon Richards, Jonah Kinsella, Peter Stevens, and myself. And we formed to instigate HIV activism. And we did things like what you just saw, and we organized very large concerts. I remember dancing with Sarah Harmer. We did a huge bazaar in Durand Park, old Durand Park, and we did all these things. But what Peter and I found very early on was that when we said VOKS Collective, people got confused and said, "You collect socks? You what?" And so Peter and I said, okay, well, we're just not going to say that anymore so we can get to the point of what we want to do. And so we did a lot of things. And we're going to donate our materials to the archives in Toronto. And that's archives with a Q. So they collect, they're the largest archive of its kind in the world, actually. Collecting, and I'm an old guy, so I don't remember all the letters anymore. LGBTQ++, and I know there's more, but that's what that archive is. And I was just going to say, if anybody here drives regularly from Hamilton to Toronto and can take our stuff, that would be great, because that seems to be a really hard thing for me to get done. Has Sedona come in? I know she was going to try. Leo Dragtoe couldn't make it due to medical reasons, couldn't perform with us. Cheryl Smith couldn't perform with us because of a death in the family. I want to say that Sedona is meine Wunderkinder. Essen meine Wunderkinder. She has really injected a lot into VOKS at this stage for such an old collective. And she is the person who can actually pull our films and music together. Her father, Dusty, does the sound. And in the film trailer you saw, and we had to show you the trailer, partly because we wanted to be in time tonight, but also we can't show the full film because it's entered in film festival competitions, and they like to be able to say world premiere. So we want to try to have that opportunity. But what you saw Sedona incorporate into the trailer was MRI footage of my spine. So I had a very good period when I was able to go to a clinic in Hamilton where they taught me pain management techniques, and they had machines that they would tell you what things to do to work. They had acupuncture and shiatsu therapists, which you could get at a reduced cost because they didn't have to rent the space in the clinic. And I did really well during that time. And then there was a change in government in Ontario, and a conservative government was elected, and that clinic closed. And some years later, I had what the doctors described as a calamitous collapse of my spine. And I had to give away my bicycle because I couldn't ride it. And I've fallen a few times every year since then. I say these things because it's like that conservative government that was elected wanted to punish artists and disabled people and anybody who wasn't conservative. And there's going to be an election in Canada. And if Pierre Poilievre is elected, he will punish us as artists and as disabled people. And I know that it's likely nobody in this room is going to vote for him. But what I would just say is, if you can talk to people who maybe just don't bother to vote, to say, well, let's go together and vote, because it will be a very dark time if that man is prime minister of the country. And I'm sorry if I offended anyone for whom that's not felt to be true. Shane, is that have I done enough? Thanks. Can somebody come and get me?
You've done quite enough.
Oh, Violet, I'm so happy you're here. So, thank you.
Yeah, Paul, I was hoping you'd come up in order to describe the activities of the collective and its history. I should mention to all the poets in the room, of which I know there are many, VOKS and Sedona, tying things all together, as Paul has mentioned, have made some incredible dramatizations of poems. So if you can find them, take a look. It's impressive stuff. You'd be covetous. I decided to change things up a little bit. It makes more sense, I think, on reflection, to have Violet read at the end so that Hamilton can bookend the evening. So I'm going to keep Violet, I'm going to keep you waiting in anticipation. I meant the audience, not you, Violet. Okay, so next is going to be Mugabi Byenkya. Mugabi is an award-winning writer. Mugabi's writing is used to teach high school English in Kampala and Toronto schools. They won the Discovering Diversity Poetry Contest in 2017. In the same year, their award-nominated debut, Dear Philomena, was published, and they went on a 45-city, 5-country North America and East Africa tour. In 2018, Mugabi was named one of 56 writers who has contributed to their native Uganda's literary heritage in the 56 years since independence. Dear Philomena was named a Ugandan bestseller in the same year. Excuse me, I should mention Gordon Hill Press, the press that I edit for, is going to be releasing a chapbook by Mugabi later in 2024, I think, to coincide with another of Mugabi's epic tours. And finally, Mugabi wants you to know that they hope to be Jaden Smith when they grow up. Okay.
And Neuroatypical Poetics Festival for having me for this virtual reading today. It's an honor and a privilege. I was actually supposed to perform in person in 2019, but unfortunately, I had a seizure and was unable to make it. And so I appreciate the organizers and especially Jane for being accommodating and gracious and for having me virtually around this time. Brief image description of myself. I am a dark-skinned black human with curly hair with a 4B curl pattern. I'm wearing white glasses with a white frame because I'm nearsighted. I have a small afro and a full luscious beard, which are both combed out. And I'm wearing a pink candy fabric shirt with blue dots and white circles and black lines running through it. I'm also an award-winning writer of prose, poetry, comics, drama, essays, and songs. If you'd like to find out more information about myself and my work and/or purchase my work, I have 2 full-length works thus far. My debut novel memoir, which was award-nominated and a Ghana bestseller, Dear Phenomena, and my award-nominated debut mixtape, which blurs the line between poetry and hip-hop, songs from and two, published in 2017 and released via the independent American record label Hello America Stereo Cassette in 2022, respectively. Dear Phenomena was published by Discovery University Publishing in Toronto. And I have a forthcoming chapbook titled Songs for Women, which is a prequel to Songs for Men 2, my debut mixtape. And it will be released via the Sheffield Chapbooks, which is an imprint of Neuroatypical Press. I'm very excited for that forthcoming publication. And tonight I'll be performing a selection of poems from said chapbook. The first poem I'll be reading is titled Phenomena's Interlude Part 1. He was always a sissy boy, but what comes with the territory doesn't always come with joy. Raised by their mother as the phenomena she wanted, never realized the extent this foreshadowed their gender expression. Older sisters perpetuated mother's wishes, dressed in hand-me-down frilly dresses. Tea parties and slumber parties, girl talk and dress up, dove into their mother's makeup cabinet, fascinated with the forbidden world, foundation and fenty, eyeshadow and iman, lush and bliss. So that was Phenomena's Interlude Part 1. The second poem that I'll be reading today is titled Don't Touch My Hair. Don't Touch My Hair. Dhaka, Bangladesh, 1999. Don't touch my hair, I said to the Bangladeshi child who grabbed a clump of my luscious afro and yanked back, jarring me out of my daydream, back into the realities of being a black face in a brown space. Don't touch my hair, I repeated, turning around, swatting the boy's hand away as he ran away, sheepish grin, knuckles protruding from his skin, fiercely clutching his treasure, my curls, his worn object, my curls, his conquest, my curls. Don't touch my hair, I repeated. The boy was long gone, but the feeling of otherness, the feeling of exoticism, the feeling of thirst, those feelings lingered. Kampala, Uganda, 2006. Don't touch my hair. Never had I ever expected to be using these 4 words in Uganda of all places. Don't touch my hair, I repeated, ignoring claims and hollow justifications as to the unique texture, bounciness, volume of my hair. Why am I still exotic as a black face in a black space? Don't touch my hair, I repeat, as they try to act like being touched without consent is a compliment. Act like I should be grateful and flattered for them touching me without my consent. Act like I don't know or appreciate the true beauty of my own hair, but they do, and they can teach me just how special I am. Lawrence, Kansas, USA, 2010. Don't touch my hair, I say without looking back, as I feel the hand press into my freshly combed afro and continue to sink a black friend before, and so I never touched a black person's hair before, and I just wanted to know how it felt. It feels so cool. It's like a sponge. White woman explains as I give her a hello side eye. Don't touch my hair. That was Don't Touch My Hair. Thank you so much. And just a quick side note, I actually wrote that poem before the popular Solaris song came out. So the next poem I'll be reading is called Do Not Judge Me by My Weak Hand. Your right hand reaches out. My anxiety rises. Your right hand continues to swing upwards, propelled by able-bodied shoulder lever action. You can do this without thinking about it. Globules of sweat on my nose, forehead, palms, and soles engorge. Hyperhidrosis sucks. Anxiety only makes it worse. Handshakes always make me anxious. I attempt to wipe the sweat on my right palm up against my right hand, while using my left hand to fish out my ride or die crimson and Pantone checkered handkerchief out of my left pocket to wipe the engorged globules of sweat off of my nose, forehead, and palms for good measure. My socks absorb the sweat from my soles. I wish wearing gloves was more socially acceptable. Your eyebrows raise. I awkwardly propel my right hand upwards. Bent shoulder, bent elbow, spastic clenched right hand, lots of fatigue. Your eyebrows raise higher. My spastic right hand attempts to splay out, but instead starts stabbing. Your eyebrows raise even higher. I attempt to place my hand in yours. You have been awkwardly waiting for me to complete the handshake. So as soon as my hand is in the general vicinity, you grip firmly. I spasm as my double-jointed pinky raises straight out like a part of Gentile society sipping tea. Your eyebrows raise higher than I've ever seen. You take a step back. I smile and say, it's nice to meet you. You grimace. I smile and think, why can't I shake hands with my left hand? So that was Do Not Judge Me by My Weak Handshake. The next poem I'll be reading is titled Professor Poopy Pants, and this was actually turned into a song on my award-nominated debut mixtape, Songs for Women 2. So if you feel like listening to it, feel free to check it out. The link is available on my website. It's been a while since I wrote some new poetry. Oh, it's been a while since I channeled my inner Jonas CEO. It's been a while since I cried over the loss of my faculties. It's been a while since I defecated in bed because I lost control of me. Wide-eyed and groggy mind state, oxymoron, yet description of my state of being as I shuddered awake to a squelching feeling running down my pants, faster than Captain Underpants, pranced around town chasing after Professor Poopy Pants. No doctorate, but my pants are poopy. Did I just poop in my pants? Absolutely. There's no fade to black like a scene in a movie because I just pooped my pants, and that's a major oopsies. Now you might be chuckling and wondering how I could get to the point where I poop in my pants while asleep. You won't be chuckling when you discern that it's due to me suffering from 3 strokes by the time I turned 23. At the time, life was so stressful and depressing that pooping my pants was honestly a relief, for I went to bed most nights wishing for death. But that morning, I woke up with some comic relief. That was Professor Poopy Pants. In conclusion, I'd like to thank everyone very much for joining me during this virtual reading, I'd like to give a special shout out to Shane, to the Sheffield Catholics, to Gordon Hill Press, and to all the individual publications who published some of these poems prior to them being in the chapbook, namely Crush 1, Alongo Africa, and African Writer. Thank you very much. And have a great rest of your day. And feel free to follow me on Instagram at Mugabs, MUGABS, on Twitter at MugabsB, MUGABSB, and on Facebook, Mugabi Byenkya. Thank you.
Thanks, Mugabi. I think you can see me, maybe. Maybe you're watching now, maybe not. Maybe it doesn't fit in to time zone / ability to watch. But if anyone in the audience is wondering, in disability poetics, bodily functions feature prominently, right? Because thinking normatively, you might wonder why there's a focus upon such, but it's an act of reclamation. Anyway, I'm now going to introduce you to Travis Chi Wing Lau. He, him, his. He is an assistant professor of English at Kenyon College. Been following Travis for 6 or 7 years now. Travis is an incredible scholar of disability in the disability studies field. He's a he's a scholar that focuses on 18th and 19th century British literature and culture, but he also has he takes that and melds it with health humanities. It's okay. It's going to be more interesting than me anyway. So he takes 18th and 19th century British literature and he melds it with health humanities and disability studies research. He also, of course, is a poet, a really profound poet, and his work has appeared in places like Word Gathering. We're going to have Diane Wiener reading soon, the editor of that current journal, but also in Glass, South Carolina Review, Foglifter, and Hypertext. And has a number of chapbooks, only one of which I don't have. I don't have The Bone Setter from Damaged Goods Press in 2019, but I have Pairing from Finishing Line Press in 2020, and I have Vagaries from Fork Time Press in 2022. So Travis is going to read for us now. Travis? Okay.
Hi everyone, my name is Travis Chi Wing Lau. My pronouns are he and his. A brief image description: I'm a Chinese American man wearing glasses and a black t-shirt featuring different symbols from the disability community, like the wheelchair and the hand sign, with the phrase accessibility matters beneath that. I am sitting in front of my bookcases here at my apartment. A little bit about me: I'm an assistant professor of English at Kenyon College, a small liberal arts college here in Central Ohio. Outside of my academic work, I'm a poet and often write about my stories with related disabilities and chronic pain as they intersect with my Chinese and queer experiences. I'll be reading some of the recent work alongside pieces from my 2 other published chapbooks, Pairing, Finishing Line Press 2020, and Vagaries from Fork Time Press 2022. If you're interested at all in my work, you can find it on my website, travisclau.com. Awesome, okay. The first piece I wanted to read is called Patient History, and it is an attempt to think about the genre of the patient history and how strange it is as a document, but also the way that we tell that as a story, as a narrative that is constructed by patients, but also co-constructed with caregivers and physicians, and just how often that patient history gets elided or erased. Patient history. We learn to track the tremors of hurt in passing as you urge them to pass in peace. Like the sutra reminds on wooden deeds that you are kin to these tremors, bound to reverberate again and again through the scale of a life, now the shape of the town everyone drives through, but never dirties their souls, because the clay does not wash off cleanly. Once it colors you red, that irritant red, hot with the need for healing, but left throbbing for more than new blood, for another tremor of something more than hurt again, than a body bending before its next sundering. You shake because you are angry with life. Part of the evolution of my scoliosis over these years has been not just the curvature of my spine, but also the misalignment of my rib cage. My left rib tends to jut outward a little bit more. And over these years, I've seen it become more and more pronounced. And I wrote this poem as a way to develop a better relationship with this part of my body that I've had a lot of shame about, a lot of issues with body image about. So this is to my lip. You look today more like a peninsula, a bold jutting into a skin sea, ever more turbulent. This I know because of what escapes the yearly exposure to a light that tries to prove its own benevolence. You seem to crave secession from this aching formation, this rude construction, barely wanting to remain fastened to itself, as if this is what it means to hold oneself in contempt, a slatternly claim to what would rather be elsewhere. This next poem is entitled This I Doubt. And it's a poem that, you can't see this, but it's shaped like a curving spine. And I wanted to think about the imagery of a curving spine and what that means epistemologically. And by that I mean how it shapes a kind of way of thinking, or in my experience, how disability is a source of knowledge for myself. This I know. This winding bone that craves more than anything to decompress, to loosen tight links drawn to gasping, until I am ordered, breathless, a thin weakness, hewing by degrees to a dull worsening, into the cracking of So I am ordered, breathless, a thin weakness, hewing by degrees to a dull worsening, into the cracking of Hi everyone, my name is Chi Wing Lau, my we might describe him as a kind of new country artist who is queer and is doing really interesting things.
Looks like there's a spot in it that's wrong. I'll just reload it again, and I'm gonna jump ahead of it. We'll have missed a little bit of material, but hopefully we can get past the problem part.
Really interesting things to what I just kind of described as the queer genre. Dead of Night is one of my favorite songs by him. But I wanted to sort of capture the erotic quality of that song, particularly its sense of wonder about what happens in the night. And I was taught by my middle high school teachers never to begin or end sentences with prepositions, so I purposely titled this poem that begins with a preposition and ends with a preposition. And this is In the Dead of. In the dead of late night, I asked for a crumb of old bread, so that some spirit of you would see me, hard with sights standing on its hind legs, a balancing trick for an old dog, soft with knowing, like old plums oozing into worlds that will outlive us both. I lay overripened, sugary still and convex against want. I am hungry at the wrong hours. That's the issue. This poem I wrote as part of a workshop that Richard Hoffman held. And this was part of the sort of homework that we had. And this is one of the most recent poems I've written, as I really have kind of struggled to get back into my creative practice while I've been on sabbatical this semester. But I like where this went. This is, again, a kind of retrospective approach to thinking about a moment of intimacy. And this moment is entitled Rooted. Recall the night when you drove the anchorite from me, that uncomely Puritanism mislabeled as Victorian, but was in fact bad historicism, eager to disavow those singular sweetnesses, milked across latticed openings, filling two men like Alice's. Shadows crouched in the corner of the room, parodying our likenesses, minute with cares that free of them. As you zipped something misshapen into my breast, still now so stirring, an essence rebuking what was an unfit form. Then comes your malady of influence, veil after dusty veil, not rent but laid palmate across those pearly cells in the brain, firing mad and willful into light orpheries that neither of us can trace with our eyes until the dawn has performed her ceremony of remaking the world for us to sneer at and hear. You knew that I would not rise for hours, not until I have brooded. This is a kind of tender moment for me. Uncle passed away nearly a year and a half ago, and due to the cruelties of family, his estate has been essentially an ongoing battle since his death. He is not yet put to rest, but my hope is that in a very short time that will finally be the case. I wrote this poem for him because there had not been any proper funeral, and I wanted to at least include it for him. So this is Funeral for Unreturned Ashes, and this is for my late uncle Philip Long. Scent regrets by smoke, dull coatings of a time now ambered into a search for a former light, when the world was not dark, just lightless, except for those flashpoints of skin, little currents that mark the only things we ever shared, to know we both craved in the same early age a desire with gravity, the seedy impact of two bodies who collide by choice, even at the cost of systems still breaking wills and testaments that keep what remains of you abroad, in a home you tried to make that never bedded until this restless sleep. The last poem is a poem that means a lot to me. This is one of the poems from my first chapter of pairing. This was a poem written for my partner, but it was to commemorate a visit to one of his friend's farms. There we met a small kitten that we realized was deaf. And I developed a deep kinship with this kitten that is currently apparently doing very well with an owner. But it felt like such a symbolic moment for me, and I think one of deep intimacy between myself and my partner. This poem is Oxford, and this is for my partner, Noel. Know that I've dreamt of you in gold, even if I don't always kiss and tell. But there you were, bathed in the cold light of the roads that wound their way toward the farm, where we almost took home the kitten that knew before it realized it would never hear its brothers crowing. A rut that we both saw ourselves in, even as we learned that strength is not survival. Where the French hens gifted us the most brittle of brown life, like the husks we pull away from ourselves when they bind too tightly. The silken parts of us so hidden by the chaff until they are exposed in their goldenness that carries us home to one another. So I continue to dream of you in gold, the very bright of our distance, full and breathing like a beacon. Thank you all so very much.
Is that better for sound? Yeah? Okay. Travis, we'll be sure to fix that on the subsequent video uploady YouTube in perpetuity display. Just a tech hiccup there. You know how it goes. Okay, I'm going to introduce Diane Wiener, pronouns she, they. Diane's a neuroqueer writer, and she's the author of the Gollum Verses from 9 Mile Press from 2018, Flashes and Specs from Finishing Line Press 2021, and a book I heartily recommend to you if you can get your hands on it. It's called The Gollum Returns from Swallowtail Press in 2022. A press that was devoted to disability and madness and neuroatypicality. Her poetry, creative nonfiction, flash fiction, essays, and other work appear in a variety of publications. Just skipping ahead, Diane has an extensive history and work in community in the field, and she's the editor-in-chief of Word Gathering, a journal of disability poetry and literature, which is housed now at Syracuse University. It made a transition a few years ago there from the previous kind of editorial team. And if anyone's disabled, whatever variety under that umbrella, and you have poetry, you have you want to publish some lyric essays, you want to review books by disabled people, which I strongly recommend, then look up that website. And Diane, thank you.
Hi, I'm Diane Wiener. I'm really delighted to be with you. I'm sorry I can't be with you in person, but I'm honored and pleased to have been invited by Shane and Company to join you here from upstate New York. My name is Diane Wiener, and I'm a white Ashkenazi Jewish person who's wearing a Hamza Fatima or Hafsa around my neck. I'm wearing green framed glasses, and I have Cherubim salt and pepper hair. I'm wearing a blue and black check flannel shirt over a black and white t-shirt, which reads War is not my language in Hebrew, Arabic, and English. Behind me is a maroon wall with a bunch of artwork, and I'm going to read some poetry to you. I am going to give you a little bit of a taste from my first book, The Golden Verses, and I'm going to start with verse number 5. Golem joins me. We ask questions. What spatial, tactile, and linguistic messages could be used to assure that everyone has access to the news about colliding neutron stars without sight or sound? Astrophysicists explain vibrations, and yes, I'm relieved as I was with learning of solar eclipses' multi-sensory lives. There's even an app. A lattice, my hands, depicts shadowy crescents on cement. The fascism and eugenics so prevalent in the news are again refused. I remain conflicted about astronomy, considering people without food or shelter. The discovery of the origins of the universe, nevertheless, is unmistakably profound. If gold and platinum shattered fragments careen off colliding neutron stars, those bits swallowed up by the black holes left behind are likely inhabited by fairies. Devonian remains of mollusks might have lithic, gold, and platinum traces, for all we know. But the poetics of the first question seem lost among things quietly beside me in the woods. We are, after all, talking about the music of the stars. The golem is a mystical being who is present in Jewish mysticism. I have commented about the golem in a number of places, including in the book, The Golem Verses, from which I just read, and also from The Golem Returns, which is my second golem collection. And in these poems, the golem is my companion and friend and beloved associate. And there are lots of ways in which people might perceive her as disabled and as debatable. I'd like to read a more recent poem that I actually wrote for the purposes of supporting children in the current cultural and political moment in which many of us find ourselves. And this piece is written for A and for M and for all the children. And this is called Desert Trees. The golem flies to Safed. Some call it Safad, some call it Sfat. It's the same place, she says without a word. From the skies above the gallery, the golem reaches down. She opens all the doors. Violent waters rush through the golem's hands, lifting up every child. The children rise from the cloud cover. The golem gives the children all the crayons, so they play. Scribbling on their air canvas from this height, they feel the chill. Snow explosion. The drawn lines fall to the ground. Looking down, the youngest notice a green line, then a blue line, then a purple line below, none of which they have made. When the children ask, the golem tells them these are old lines that were never meant to be permanent. Then the golem puts her head on backwards, but the children are unafraid. She becomes her own mirror. The children watch as walls dissolve in refraction. The golem's arms stretch around the world through the equator. The children know that golem's hands are the hands of Fatima, the household. They are the same hands, the children say, without a word. The old lines vanish and the past is present. Then the golem, with her backward head and outstretched arms, erases the gestalt. What would have been memory ashes forward to feed the desert trees? Scribbled branches bridge skies of land. The children climb down the golem. They wash their hands together to break safe bread. Just pause for a moment so I can turn off the music. I'd like to read a piece now from my chapbook, Flashes and Specks. And this one is shaped like what it's about. This is called Ode to Asiphonical. On camera snatch, krill and mysids, stem zones, mirror colonies. Faces loaded where Medusa locomotive. You know, snow on thorns, named memoir, and under battery dancing. You drift daffodils near prayer flags across lines. You taste coffee beet grinds on the sea floor. You might miss a spot. Pelagic, not pandemic. You scrape sheets of wheels. You glean the sky shoal, facing flash. You risk threads, brine, roots, bucket needles. Westward ho. You lean in, my dream, my cat breathing sleep. Cuffs one wide, push the light. You strike through that heart thinking shifts, that one misfit creating more of your jelly leaf and thanks for your participation as I try my best to soon. Mid-sentence, 1918. When I worried, they cut out the other love. A calcified cyst, belly falling body. When the blue sheet had worn so much, it tore into a half square at rest. When he stared at nothing, I saw a little flotilla. When war was blurry, the glass conscious swung. When even was all that was left, mustard glided in, surprised. When the triangle flap was not a sheet, a malleable or fell in the tear. When censorship and peace conflated, the just became confused. When Wingfur was the last safe place. This is for reputation. We need to be careful we get to that rap, say after one of this poem. Often misplaced as well as inequitable and undeserved. Reputation. Common Blackboard. We visit on Boxing Day through copper framed sycamore, hanging underneath two red crowned things at the rose. Not in order, rumor has you at the scene, taking out the smaller birds, your sunspot eye piercing the solstice. Not fully, not an angry jester, a thief, or a liar. Simply says you prefer junipers, are heavier than a blackbird, calls your voice unusable, unequal tail, iridescent privacy, gregarious song, without accusation. Because of the season and because I think it's important to share, I'm going to read The Golden Talks to Herself and Via Veros Marcos. And this is from my collection, The Golden Returns. The Golden says, I see you jellyfish, rageless drops suspended on the black kitten's back. It's too bad that my smooth corona was thrown down those stairs, the Golden quips. Shit, I miss her daily, she adds. She knows she could write 99 lines hanging up tomorrow's election. The first snow is at 6:45, so the black kitten climbs the screen. The gray sigil kitten crouches beside enjambment. We all watch the wood railing wobble to the cold. Remember early March? March, the golden says, fell early with its own leaves. What happened next? The golden's second is a rush, and her first is a total. She's not joking, as far as you know. This is called The Golden Joins Me to Read. The golden speaks through the burning bush. I didn't know the burning bush was invasive, but she did. She washes the cherry head over with wet tissue. The golden knows I'm trying to remember where I put the dog's scrimshaw. The dog's scrimshaw might be in a box or tucked into a foiled pan under the closet stairs. We listen to what we get in pandemic Thanksgiving. What happened next? The golden eats containers of acorn squash and bread made in someone else's home. She has no gender and neither does the food. The golden said that pronouns are overrated, so she prefers NC-17. She has a sense of humor, but it's not her sixth sense. The golden counts things without obsession. She climbs cloud cover to piss into the wind. The golden said that the dryer tunes into life. If you listen closely, she hangs out with Benjamin's ghosts, and you can pick which Benjamin she means. The golem asks in the third person who the second person is addressing. She uses herself, whatever you might think. I'm going to read one more from The Golem Returns, and then I'll end with a piece in remembrance of my mother. The golem discusses lycanthropy, the altar. The golem knows that monsters are kin, but not all monsters were created equal. She thinks inequity is a problem that leads the werewolves to have dinner. The werewolves are even more misunderstood than the mermaids, she says. It's not her place to speak for wind or waves, but to breathe with fur and scales. The day after tomorrow, the golem will trip the light fantastic, and all hell will break loose. I'm looking forward to it, and so might you, being electrical and all. No escape balloons from the birds or atmosphere in the making of this motion picture. Whenever you want, she can show you how to shift shape. What happened next? Arthur Rackham visited us recently and asked the golem if sushi was on the menu. It turns out that some of the werewolves were fairies like the new. Eating sushi in hindsight is a kind of fission, I've been thinking, or maybe it's mitosis. We might have some miso later, and you're welcome to join us before we split. And this is a piece in remembrance of my mother. Magic trick. You don't know it's your birthday, but I do. It's the first time I think I tear banana peels vertically by hand to soak them in coffee grounds, all free to snow. This afternoon, while the cake doesn't arrive, and I try it. I visit the drawer with the mother's can opener. The egg separator watches me, so does the potato scrubber. As I move the cherry pinner to be closer to the strawberry color, like they might care, as if the intimacy is mine to have. Maybe it is true they'll vanish, but I won't ask. Thanks for letting me join you.
We're getting close to the end. Thanks, Diane. I'm just assuming that's the camera. I don't even know. Is it over here? I'm not even sure. I should mention that Diane was reviewed. The Golem Returns was reviewed in Hamilton Arts and Letters. That mighty magazine that is a stalwart. Hamilton has so much to offer, as I know you all know, already being converts, but you know, people from not Hamilton would look upon this city and just, you know, they need to be educated about all the things that Hamilton does, including LitLive series. So that's one of the things that I routinely do when I go and do this festival in other cities. I'm like, Hamilton, you know, and explain all the things that happen here. Okay. I just wanted to share with you the pictures I've been taking. I mean, obviously I can't show them to you, but I have been taking pictures and of the video performances, and the serendipity here is strong. So I took a picture of each video performer, and for Mugabi, the text underneath them is lines running through it. The text underneath Travis is dirties their souls because the clay does not wash. I don't know why I'm obsessed with this, but I just find it interesting. And Diane, under Diane's face is the word play. Just play. Yeah. Okay. Time to introduce our big finish, or Violet Arenburg. Violet also has an origin story with Hamilton Arts and Letters. Paul and Fiona encountered her work, and they mentioned it. They mentioned it to me, and I read it. And eventually, that poem that was submitted, that I think was it in the short works? Violet will tell us. Anyway, it eventually became a chapbook with the chapbook press that I used to edit for Frog Hollow. It was called Disfiguring. It's a beautiful poem. It's a book length, a chapbook length poem that I highly recommend. And it appeared in a series that chapbook press used to have called the DisAbilities series. We published like 25. Hey Gary, how you doing? He's here. I thanked you for your work before. You'll see it all later, I'm sure. Where was I? Oh yeah, we had 25. We were 25 deep into this series, and it was just continuing on and getting all kind of elements of the disability spectrum therein, with further elements of diversity. But it had to stop, which is sad. But anyway, Violet is currently pursuing a Bachelor of Science in Nursing at Brock University, while also working as a clinical extern at Hamilton Health Sciences. She is passionate about healthcare, social justice, human rights, and mental health awareness. So, closing out with Hamilton, Violet, come on up.
Thank you, Shane, and thank you for LitLive for inviting me here. The poem I'm going to be reading was published in Hamilton Arts and Letters last year, I think. It's called My Skeleton. I took my skeleton out of the closet. It was sharp and knobby. The knobbiness formed mountains and craters. The craters were hollow, empty places. This scared people. The mountains were penetrating, jagged peaks. This angered people. I decided not to clothe my skeleton from the closet. There were too many scars. The scars were peculiar for a skeleton. They weren't completely calcified. They were red and they wet blood. And people stared. They were intrigued by my skeleton scars. They wanted to mend them. They renamed the bones of my skeleton according to the judgment of its scars. The tibia was no longer the tibia. The scapula was no longer the scapula. The sternum was no longer the sternum. But my skeleton didn't conform to its new labels. It didn't want to stay in a healing cage. It had known silence and despised it. It wanted noise. So my skeleton entered a church, pristine and painted. There was a sacred reverence about my skeleton. It had sorrow, only God knew. But it didn't know how to genuflect. It clattered and clanked and clanged. My skeleton crashed into a rattling heap, shattering the pious peace of the chapel. This disturbed people. People started whispering about my skeleton from the closet. They didn't like the stories it told. The stories didn't fit into pretty picture books. They didn't have happy endings and uplifting words. They weren't accompanied by Bible verses or trite prayers. My skeleton stories were real and raw and riotous. They had knife-like edges which cut and were bloody. This appalled people. So people dug a deep, dark pit in the graveyard of their church. They hurled my scandalous skeleton from the closet into the pit and erected a tombstone. They liked the voiceless solemnity of the graveyard, the headstones. They could commemorate the dead without hearing their screams. But they had never been in the dirt, the darkness. They hadn't considered the smoldering flame. The quiet can be quite dangerous when ignited. My skeleton used to be imprisoned in my closet. This calmed people. Thank you. That's all I have for tonight. Thank you.
See, big finish. Always leave them wanting more. Something I need to struggle with, I think, and learn. Thanks for being here. If you want, talk to the VOKS Collective, find out what they're up to going forward. They probably have like 5 different things happening. Violet is present here today. If you have any questions about the festival, any sort of interest you want to express about the collective, are just interested in general, I'm here to answer your questions with this chat in the time after. And I'm not going to recapitulate all the thanks that I laboriously did at the beginning, although I do want to thank Brent and Gary tonight for the massive help with regards to the tech stuff with which we would not have been able to accomplish this. So round of applause for all the performers. One last time. And, I hope this never stops, never stops. Thanks.
Oh, jeez. I didn't bring my glasses.
Just for, personal, like.
But you can still say that.
I still want to know.
We're spending $60,000. I sound better, but I'm not. No, I'm just, so you're still working on the salary. So I can you could slide in that 25 to 30 more artists and stuff to produce.
Well, I'll get it all done, and then if they want me to, they'll have to pay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they are, but.
Well, there is some of them.
Yeah, I saw that. I was proud of her, and they skipped all of the freelancers for their summer work. And